What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another live stream. It has been a while since I was live. So welcome. Happy March. We are already in the month of March, so I hope you guys had a great February. And let's take a look. Let's take a look what we can expect for this month, which we're expecting to be quite volatile, just like it was March, even January, just like it was February and even January as well. But March, let's see if we are going to actually start, and Trump is going to start implementing these tariffs or not, which is going to be quite interesting to follow. Aside from all the geopolitical situation that's going on between Russia and Ukraine, if they're going to find a deal to make peace or not, who knows? But Trump promised that the tariffs would start on the 4th of March, which is basically on Tuesday in Canada and Mexico. So we'll see what kind of reaction you're going to see in the market once that's done. The worry part is that inflation actually has been moving a little bit to the upside, right? There's been a few upticks either in the US, in Europe, in the UK, for example, which is a concern at this point at 3%, both in the US and in the UK, 2.5 in the Eurozone. But basically since September until now, basically the inflation has been increasing. And if the situation with the tariffs does start affecting and impacting the market, it may actually increase again the inflation even more, which for that to kind of counterbalance that situation, we need the price of oil a little bit cheaper, which oil has been an interesting part to trade, at least for me, in February. So let's see if it's going to continue to provide good opportunities or not in here. It's going to be quite interesting. As you know, so we are doing the weekly pre-market analysis. So basically, we're going to take a look at different assets in here, basically starting with dollar index. Then we're going to look a little bit at US indices. It was really a great play also in February with the move to the downside. And then we're going to look, of course, at the individual forex pairs, but then we're going to look also at gold and oil. Inclusive, we're going to take a look a little bit at crypto that today basically just skyrocketed a little bit. Apparently, there was some news that Trump is looking. What was exactly the news? Working group to move forward on a crypto strategy reserve that includes, I think it was Solana and some others. So there you go, right? That was basically the news that everyone in the crypto space was waiting for, in the sense that they've been maybe a little bit disappointing that Trump hasn't really focused too much in crypto since he took charge again, but basically he has maybe other priorities, and yes, maybe that's the reason maybe why we saw a big drop in crypto in the last couple of weeks, and maybe because of that as well, it even allowed the big boys to actually accumulate at cheaper prices. The retail traders actually got scared, most likely they start selling, and the big boys actually start accumulating even more. But yes, we did have a big move today to the upside across our crypto space. We're going to take a look at it as well in a bit. If you are new, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and to like. So basically, every Sunday, we're going to resume with the weekly market analysis, and also on a daily basis, usually do pre-market analysis in the evening. Hopefully, I'll also resume with that one, even more content as well. I'll bring some trends, some performance, and that's basically the goal for this year as well with the channel in here. So if you do have any asset that you want me to pay attention to, feel free to mention it on the chat, and we're going to be able to analyze the market together. In that sense, in here. So what do we have? Right, so let's take a look first of all at the news for this week. It's going to be the first week of March. So as usually, first week of March means, or first week of every month, basically means it's going to be about the labor market in the US. It will be about NFP eventually on Friday, and before that we do have we have ADP non-farm payroll, we have job openings, and we have some other important news regarding to the labor market in the US as well. In addition to that, we're going to also have Christine Lagarde and the ECB press conference with another interest rate announcement on Thursday. So that's going to be as well an interesting one. So ECB and then NFP. So the last 2 days of the week is going to be quite busy. And we're expecting another 25 basis point rate cut, which is interesting. The ECB and the Eurozone and Christine Lagarde, guys, it continues the cuts, so it doesn't stop apparently, and that's maybe the next path to continue as well. We'll see until when. Because inflation is actually starting to go a little bit higher, but we'll see. And hopefully we'll see if Trump also turns to Europe in terms of implementing any tariffs or not. At this point, they're quite safe. Before that, as you can see, there are many yellow news in here, not really that important. A little bit of manufacturing, PMIs and services, but maybe not that much going on. And tomorrow, then the government apparently is going to speak, maybe in some conference, if it is in Tokyo. And yeah, that's basically it. It's going to be labor market, ECB, and then NFP. And that's going to be it in terms. Be careful always with these pitches as well. But the main point is actually be careful with Tuesday or Wednesday night when to see if you're actually going to have or not the tariffs be implemented, which is kind of the deadline and the date that is projected to be implemented. So that's something to pay attention. So let's take a look at the market in here. So it has been a while since we spoke last time. I don't really remember when was the last time I went live with this on my own channel. But we were looking for shorts on the dollar, right? Basically, we're looking for dollar index to fill all this range at around this level, and that's basically what happened. So we started to have initially that break of a low, then price retraced all the way back, retested perfectly this extreme, almost creating kind of a double top, but there's more detail than just a simple double top in there. So actually, literally a zone that was still fresh. And then since then, price started to move down, eventually broke again, and then you're looking for price to start feeling a little bit of this value. It reacted really nicely from that, from that month zone. It's basically one of the last ones. Maybe there was a little bit of another one in there. Maybe it was already spiked all the way down. So basically, this was definitely one of the key levels of fresh levels that was still in there. As you can see, none of these lows actually reacted from it, and then price actually started to turn in here. I was actually waiting a little bit for a new fake out in there before the move. It never happened. We did have that initial break to the upside, so that was a good sign. Something that it was maybe not that clear on the euro dollar, but we did have that break to the upside, and then price kept holding in here until we finally turned. It also broke this trend line in here quite nicely, and then there you go, right? The move to the upside in here. And then there you go, a second potential continuation. It's exactly at around this structure, but now once price now breaks this move to the upside, now in here as a continuation, it's definitely a level that you could expect. A lot of this move has been already spiked, so maybe there's a little bit more room to the upside in here on the dollar index. Maybe this level in here can hold a little bit more and continue to move to the upside. So we'll see what's going to happen in here. Interesting enough, yes, price may still want to go a little bit lower. I wouldn't be surprised if eventually this dollar index actually doesn't really continue to push a little bit more to the downside in here. But for now, we definitely have in here two levels that price can easily keep holding and continue to push a little bit more to the upside in here. So that's something to pay attention. Basically these two levels in here on the dollar index. In terms of targets to the upside, well, as I mentioned, basically everything in here has been almost spiked, or basically spiked already. I don't really know how many more orders there are left behind in there, so we are starting to look a little bit maybe higher in here. We do have or had this level in here as a previous level that hold price quite a few times. That was basically where this big spike reacted from, so maybe that already took the orders from there. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if the index may continue to move a little bit more to the upside. So something to follow in here. Looking at the US indices and what a move and exactly the range that we have been looking for. Like when you do identify the ranges that may price this one to feel, and when some of them are already basically got confirmed with price breaking previous structure, it really gives a high probability move eventually when you do have that and it happened in here basically on the 20th of February after the break of low again. We did fake out that all-time high, and then prices continue. It may have actually missed a little bit of the level in there, quite similar actually to the move on the gold. If you pay attention, if you actually study this move in here, it may actually be quite similar to the move on gold as well in there. And since then, a really strong move to the upside. And now looking at the US indices, Now, if you actually pay attention to the Magnificent Seven, in here, if you're looking, for example, at Apple, Google, Microsoft, Meta, Amazon, Nvidia, and so on, basically the 7 biggest ones. If you're looking at the price action individually in each one of them, something that maybe we can do in here, you're going to realize that all of them, they're basically starting to show a little bit of weakness, which is quite interesting. For example, Nvidia, we had the earnings last week, so on Thursday. No, on Wednesday, sorry. We actually had the earnings. So again, beat expectations, but still push the downside. So that's a little bit of the move that you had. In my opinion, that was already a break to the downside. Price retested the supply and then push lower, and now basically retesting already from this first level. So we'll see what price is going to do from here. To breaks, maybe there's a chance to go further down. At least to retest towards this level, that's already done. We have Tesla as well starting to break a little bit. It's even better if you look into the higher time framing here. So Tesla as well kind of moving a little bit. We have Apple. Apple is one that actually still a little bit closer to the top in there. So that's something to continue to follow, a bit more bullish. Amazon as well just broke a massive daily low. Even this trend line as well, now getting a little bit into next support resistance, but also showing some weakness. Meta, that's an interesting one. So Meta is actually now broke to the upside, and now this is a key level in here. If it holds, then maybe there can be a continuation to the, if it holds, maybe that's a continuation to the upside. If it breaks in here, maybe you're going to start seeing some reversals on Meta. Again, all this situation is just to reinforce that potentially the move to the downside on the US indices can still continue, and maybe sometimes just using also as a reference of this closing of this magnificent of these big the most important stocks in the US can help as well. Look at Microsoft as well, just broke this important structure to the downside. Even Google as well continue to push forward, right? So that's something that we can see on the charts and something to pay attention to in here. Now, S&P, yes, it just filled literally one of the targets that we had. It was literally from this demand zone. It was still fresh in here, so it basically reacted from it, basically filled out of this range. It was still a considerable drop if you consider from the top to bottom, around 5%. And it holds, so as long as it holds this level, then it can continue to push a little bit more to the upside. That was the target that I was looking for. Basically, we already had the break of this structure in here. It was basically the next space available, and it reacted really nicely from it. So we'll see now what's going to happen after from here at this point. So wait and see at this point in here. And then we have Nasdaq. And Nasdaq, in my opinion, maybe there's a little bit more room to the downside, so maybe we can even go a little bit more towards this level. I'm curious to see how price may react from here. Nasdaq, again, similar move. A lot of compression here, already broke that structure. And now it reacted a little bit from this extreme. Yeah, I think it can go. I think eventually can go a little bit worse. So Nasdaq can be potentially a little bit more of a move to the downside, but this level here can still hold price up as well. So that's something to pay attention. And then what else? Yeah, Dow, we'll see. Again, could continue to go lower. Not too interested in Dow at this point. And DAX continues to be in here trading at around this level, but DAX actually closed. DAX actually came all the way down to test this demand zone, so there's not exactly proper engulf down in here. So again, still trading within this range. We'll see what's going to happen in here. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what will happen at around that zone. Even FTSE 100 as well. Again, the retesting now all-time highs, potentially move to the upside, and it's another one to continue to follow. All right, so that's basically what we have in here. Again, let's look at Bitcoin now. Let's look at crypto and what we have in here. Just 1 second, guys. Okay, so looking at crypto, what do we have in here? Second. Just 1 second, guys. All right, so crypto, there you go. We had the strong reaction to the upside today, again, after that news. I was like not surprised at all with the move to downside. Initially, it was actually a good key level to break below the 90k, and now basically price just regaining that level. And this push downside, it was the closest to the previous all-time high that we had back in March, and that we broke then in November when Trump won the election at around 74, right? So that was one of the zones in there. And now basically price came all the way back. Basically the way price moved away in here, it was full compressed, and this is one of the demand zones, key demand zones in here that was created after the separation between that all-time high and this one in here. So it actually makes a little bit sense where price ended up going to. It didn't really react from that level, to be honest, just fake out that low and push higher. So it never really came a little bit closer to that level in there. But it makes a little bit sense, in my opinion, where price actually end up having a bounce at least reacting from. Now, question mark is what's going to happen next, right? Is this actually the bottom now? And crypto, in Bitcoin in particular, is actually ready now to move to the upside, or is going to continue to find a little bit more of selling pressure? And of course, this new level in here that basically just created this massive move is going to be an interesting one to pay attention again in the future. All right, so that's something to pay attention in there for sure in here. So yeah, many people have been not so enthusiastic with crypto, quite scared, to be honest, after this push really strong to the downside. But now basically just regaining again. Crypto is like this volatility, is movements even over the weekend, reacting to the news, and I can presume who maybe actually managed to open such a big position in here after the news. Looking at Ethereum, is more or less the same as well. Massive aggressive move to the upside. Just basically still kind of turning it around those lows, still within this basically the demand zone that is in here. Even though kind of have all this one in here almost showing compression, in reality that demand zone is still fresh, and this may be basically where price actually end up reacting from, to be honest, with eventually the potential to go even lower. We'll see. And then Solana as well, that's something that actually been involved. Yeah, good reaction from that demand zone. Really nice move in there, and already pushing a little bit more to the upside. All right, so basically as soon as it broke below this low and also this structure in here, basically filling out the compression into the next valid structure, and now a strong push to the upside in here. It's going to be interesting. Again, this is basically one of the next levels to see what's going to happen. Solana that had a massive move to downside, more than 50% retracement all the way from the top, as you can see, around 57%. That was massive, and basically just today with this move to the upside, it already made not this one, sorry. Yeah, it already made basically 43% of a move to the upside. So basically recovering a little bit from this push down in there. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting to continue to follow to see if there's going to be another move to downside or not in here, or if it starts gaining some momentum from here. On Solana particularly, I was actually still looking for price to get a little bit lower. I never really do that, so that's something to follow in here. Looking now at the currency indices, looking and starting with this one, starting with the yen index. So yen index has been an interesting one, and it has been moving in such a strong compression, which has been providing opportunities for both buys and sells. It depends on what you want to look for on the yen pairs. Right? If you want to look for longs, you can find them. If you want to look for shorts, you can find them as well. And that's basically what it provides when you have a compression move, just like we do right now. Key important level that was broken on Friday, so we did manage to break below this low in here, so that's interesting. Maybe start opening door finally to move a bit more to downside. We also went all the way basically to fake out that high into this next level, so that was already kind of a nice break in here. Basically we had all this a little bit of a compression move in there. Now price broke above it, so that's going to be an interesting one. Attention as well, like basically the next level that we have in here. So that's definitely something to pay attention to see if price basically perhaps can move a little bit more to the downside, and from here find some strength or not. So something to follow. Also attention to this level in there. So basically two levels in here on the on the N index to pay attention, and that can be basically the opposite when you're looking at the N pairs. And then we also have the Euro index, which is going to be again an important pair to look at this week, mostly because of the ECB, especially on Thursday. So we are going to definitely keep tracking the ECB to see the Euro index, sorry, to see what opportunities we may find in here. Basically, price reacting really nicely from this demand zone, then went all the way to the supply, and now basically coming back all the way to the next demand zone in here. So that's basically what we have at this point. Yeah, it needs to break one of the other direction. In my opinion, again, bigger picture, I still think that the Euro index, it looks like it's still bearish. That reaction there is literally just a great reaction from this previous level structure, and because of that, and price actually managed to break out this, even broke that wall as well. So it could look like more of a continuation to the downside, to be honest, after price also reacting from basically that these tops in here. So yeah, we'll see if it actually continues to move a bit more to the downside or not, but for now we are within this range in here. So yeah, that's something to pay attention. Looking just a little bit at the volatility that actually has been increasing as well when looking at the VIX, crossing the 20 mark, basically sustaining a little bit more closer to those 18, 17, and something like that, like a little bit farther away from this 12, 13 that spent a long period of time in the past. Now is a little bit higher, which represents the increase of volatility that we have seen in the market in these last few weeks. And most likely, it's still going to continue just like that. Continuation in here. Okay, let's take a look now at the individual currency pairs. Let's start with euro dollar in here. So, all right, what do we have on the euro dollar? No, this euro card. Sorry, what is euro dollar? Okay, so what do we have in here on the euro dollar? Yeah, apparently I've been waiting for price actually to break above this high. It never really managed to. I do like that level in there, but I was looking to see if price actually would fake out that level before moving down, and it never did. It actually continued to hold this level all this time. Start kind of showing potentially some weakness in here, but I've been waiting for price actually to go there. On the dollar index, we did actually manage to break a top, which basically would represent euro dollar breaking this low, which never really did actually continue to hold it. It was interesting, but yeah, after you can actually see this rejection and price actually starting to break to downside, then you start having a feeling that price is satisfied with the level in there and actually may start looking to push lower. And yes, after start breaking this level, I was looking for price to go even lower below that, and now yes, it can continue just similar to the similar to the dollar index, where price may still want to go a little bit higher. Maybe euro dollar also wants to continue to push a little bit lower. Something to keep an eye on, to be honest. Yeah, not really, maybe in here, but not really the biggest fan of the level in here on the euro dollar when looking left. So yeah, something to keep an eye on, to be honest, in here. And we'll see again by Thursday when you do have the ECB. That's going to be maybe an interesting one to pay attention to where price is going to be. But maybe for tomorrow we may have a continuation, unless price is going to open with some crazy gaps, which can always happen. We'll see. Looking at the pound dollar, this was a nice one, so nice reversal pattern in here. So basically price starting to break some lows in here. It had that final fake out into that clean supply level that was in there. Initial price was reacting from this lower edge, then it went all the way to the extreme that was still fresh. Great reaction. It was also with some commentary from Trump. I think that when he mentioned the tariffs as well, and then we actually just continue a push lower, then great retesting here from this basically left shoulder in there, and now price pushing lower, filling out the space in here and maybe even breaking, which means that maybe we can have also potentially a continuation here to the downside on the pound. We'll see. To be honest, this may be one of the last levels, maybe this one actually, because below that almost everything has been compressed, to be honest. So there's not exactly much left behind at around this level. We had already went up, down, basically filling everything in here. Attention to this one, and aside from that, maybe pound dollar could continue to push a little bit lower. We'll see. it wants to go higher. This one was already a good reaction. So either can continue to respect this high in here, otherwise a little bit higher, to be honest. All right. Euro pound, that's going to be one that I'll be definitely on my radar. So I've been waiting for the euro pound all this time. So in my opinion, I do see this break to the upside in here. So that's something that I'm going to use as a reference as well. It's true, pound dollar is literally reacting from a level that has been holding for a long period of time. Basically, last time we went below that level, it was before Brexit, back in 2016 in the summer. Since then, basically price went up and never really managed to go below this 0.82. All right, for some reason it's a zone that has been holding price for Brexit was already 2016, so almost 9 years. Jeez, time flies. Yeah, basically 9 years already. So that's going to be an interesting one. Now we do have kind of that break of structure, even that high as well, and now price is reacting from this demand, which can be maybe a daily or even weekly level in there. So it's about to just keep tracking to see how price may react. To be honest, initially there was this opportunity, price indeed reacted from it, it's the month zone, and now it's paying attention to see how price may react from that level. So that's going to be an interesting one to keep an eye on. Price went up, just respected still this structure, so there's not exactly a proper move to the upside. Yes, there is an attempt in here, but the price just respected it. Again, these candles, they are just terrible. This is basically created during the open on a daily basis, which can be really terrible because you can literally go collect your orders, your stop loss, or whatever. And yeah, I hate them, to be honest. We'll see. But when looking in here into the lower time frame, we do have, so we had this demand zone. I think this is already where price is reacting from, and then we may have a little bit of this level underneath, and those may be the two levels in here that we're going to be paying attention. This one in here reacted from that demand zone that I mentioned. So yeah, I'll be following just because I think there's maybe an opportunity in here. Not really sure why euro pound will by any chance start going below this 0.82, which of course it could. Price actually reacted nicely from this top. Price reacted from that level, already broke this low as well. So when looking at the charts, we actually could continue to push forward. Like we already broke that structure, price came all the way up, respected that level, and now you could eventually break below that and start aiming perhaps towards this zone in here, almost 0.8 to be honest, which can be a really strong level. And maybe now we can start trading within this range. So that's something to keep an eye on. But on the lower time frame, more intraday stuff, I think there's still a potential bounce from this level, and that's going to be something I'll be looking for. Looking at the Aussie dollar and then and the Aussie pairs and even New Zealand, so that was a big correction. So price reacted really nicely. This pattern here basically worked really nicely. Price then continued to push higher, and basically price reacted from the next level. This was actually a nice supply level. Also, price got closer into this next previous level support resistance in there, and now it's pushing down. Right. The reality is that price actually managed to break a high, so that's something to bear in mind. Question mark is this low kind of the final destination here, and price ready to go higher, or perhaps price does want to continue to push a little bit more to the downside, maybe closer to this level or something else in there before moving higher. We do have also this left shoulder in here, a little bit lower from where price is right now. So that's a little bit of a question mark. It's going to be interesting to see what will happen. A bit more in the intraday and looking a little bit closer to what's going on in here. It could maybe react from here, but it can go all the way actually in maybe get closer to this extreme in there. So maybe we can continue to have a little bit more of a bearish move. Of course, price eventually, if the intention, for example, is actually to turn from somewhere in here, eventually price does need to start creating some kind of compression move, which means that eventually price will start respecting some levels in here, and then eventually can break them again, but eventually is going to start bouncing a little bit in here, if the idea is actually to eventually turn from somewhere around this area. So that's a potential move in here on the Aussie to pay attention. New Zealand did just something quite similar as well. Great reaction from this previous level support resistance within that supply level. Really good reaction, to be honest. And then price just continued to push lower, and now we'll see what's going to happen here. The difference with New Zealand is that New Zealand is actually reacting from these lows already, and that can be actually faked out, to be honest. It can actually be trapped in here. So it's already reached a double bottom. At this point, we do have this low underneath that as well. So yeah, it's just a little bit of cautious with that long. There are definitely potentially a little bit more of a move to the downside as well to look for. Yeah, it's going to be an interesting one to continue to track as well, and maybe the opportunities are still going to continue to look for shorts when price eventually retraces. So bear that in mind. In here, we'll see. On the other hand, there's been actually a bearish move already for a few days. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, basically more than a week already, constantly printing bearish candles, which will be getting closer to retrace. Euro Aussie coming back all the way to the highs as well. Again, I could see a little bit more of a push a little bit higher in here. Already have out the structure. Price actually respected nicely that low. So we could eventually see a little bit more of a push to the upside, which means that maybe Aussie dollar could continue to push lower. So that's something to bear in mind as well. We'll see how price eventually may react from above these tops in here, because then you can also have pound Aussie. Yeah, pound Aussie, a massive move to the upside. As you can see, really aggressive moving up, the same way that Aussie dollar is moving down. So next can be a little bit higher. We just actually managed to break the high. So we did manage to break that high in there. So that's going to be interesting to see if we're going to have a continuation in here or not. Yes, before that, we may have a retracement. We'll see. So it's definitely a pair to continue to look at. It's another one quite aggressive in a bullish moving here, which eventually just naturally would need to find some retracement. So that's an interesting one in here on the Aussie pairs. Starting to look a little bit to the yen pairs. We can maybe start with yeah, Aussie yen. Even though I haven't been really paying attention to the Aussie yen, to be honest. Yeah, it just continues to push a little bit lower. I wouldn't be surprised if you do actually continue to do that. So just going to set up an alert and nothing else. And one at the top because it wants to go there. Dollar yen, so that's a nice one, right? So we did manage to break below this low, which may lead into another engulf down, to be honest. Which means that price in the future may want to continue actually to go lower. Question mark is from where? Maybe can react just from this level, or does price actually wants to have a little bit more of a deeper retracement? I do have this level. Price eventually could go all the way. We'll see. There's definitely still a few levels in here that price can still hold to the downside. It's a nice kind of accumulation at this point from the dollar yen. But there you go. Like if the yen index does want to continue to push lower, maybe it's going to push a little bit more to downside. But then on the other side, if the dollar index does want to go higher, this one may want to go a little bit more to the upside as well. So maybe there's a little bit of a conflict in here in terms of which direction to go, which means that maybe we're going to have a little bit more of a range going on in here on dollar yen. It's just something to something to keep an eye on. Looking at euro yen, so that's another one. It's been quite ranging, as you can see, basically for a week, basically traded in here to finally fake out this level on Friday. Still respecting these lows, still respecting the low even on the left side as well, with potentially to fill out this range if it actually start breaking below that structure. But there you go, like something to keep an eye on. I think this week maybe we can have the opportunity or some opportunities in here on the end, which we saw on the end index has been quite rangy. So maybe today or this week we are going to finally have an opportunity to look for to look for some trades. Pound yen also respecting the demand zone. Price actually still respected the previous high as well in there. In my opinion, I think this pound yen, sorry, they still want to continue to push a little bit lower. I wouldn't be surprised if you do have that. So yeah, I would like to see it going a little bit more to downside. You did manage to break some lows in here, so price is still kind of moving in that bearish move. Yes, it's holding a little bit. Maybe actually managed to break that, but I would like to see price continue to push a little bit more to the downside in here. Yeah, not really interested at this point in anything in there. Transitioning into the dollar card, which is going to be quite interesting because, again, the tariffs. So yes, this was basically the last move 1 month ago when you had initially Trump announcing tariffs, and then the move to downside where it was when Trump announced the postponing the tariffs for a month, like for 30 days basically. And the deadline, as I mentioned, it's going to be on the 4th of March. It's going to be Tuesday. So basically between Monday to Tuesday midnight US time, basically 5 a.m. GMT, we are going to have potentially tariffs starting to be implemented in Canada, which is going to create a lot of volatility. Okay, so there's a risk, of course, that price may even want to test that level in there. We do have this extreme in there as well to pay attention. We did manage to break slightly this low, so price may actually want to test this level in here, for example. It's going to be an interesting one. Looking into the bigger picture, yes, we did manage to break below these lows. Prices respected that demand zone, and it's going to be interesting to follow to see what's going to happen. You do have those left shoulders in there, like basically 2 big double tops. So yeah, those are just a few levels to pay attention to in here. So it's about continue to follow where price may go and react from. They have this a little bit of extreme, and then you go straight away into the next zone in there. To be honest, yeah, something to keep an eye on. Yeah, something to keep an eye on. Looking at Euro card, this one is an interesting one as well. In here, I'm even prefer the shorts as well. So price approaching, again, you do have all this structure. So maybe you can have one fake out of all of this into this zone a little bit higher. So we'll see, even though price actually managed to break, so which means that this may be an engulf upwards. Price came all the way back, retested really nicely this low, and potentially from here actually can continue to go even higher. So just looking at the bigger picture, that could happen. Price already reacted from this level several times. It came all the way down, still respected these lows. So yeah, we'll see how price may actually react from somewhere around here, to see if there's more momentum to the upside or not. Yeah, so yeah, Euro card, that's something to pay attention. I'm also looking at the pound card. Actually, that was an interesting opportunity that happened this last week. There you go. Right, so basically price retesting which is this top, which then goes into the other top on the left side, into here. Okay, something all the way back in 2018, and then above that we're back into 2016. But price for now basically created a double bottom. It already kind of broke that wall first, now broke another one, but still respecting that structure in here. So yeah, I don't really like, to be honest, now the way price moved away from here. Looks like that this has been super spiked. Price is still reacting from this supply level. So yeah, maybe we have this left shoulder in there. Maybe price just wants to respect this level and start moving lower into this supply level. We'll see. As you can see, with a lot of volatility, all of a sudden can move quite aggressively. So again, it depends on how you like to trade. If you like volatility, then maybe the cut pairs can be for you. If you want a little bit something more relaxed with more control, maybe don't really look at cut pairs this week. KK, welcome to the stream. How are you? Hello. Have you seen the move on Savannah? It's been beautiful. Okay. What else? What else? Dollar franc Swiss. Let's take a look at dollar franc Swiss. Dollar franc Swiss is retracing. Basically broke a little bit of the structure. It still respected this demand zone. All right, so it respected this level in there. And now it's retracing, and we'll see what's going to happen. Again, it's been moving a little to the downside. It reacted really nicely from that top in there, so it's going to be interesting to see what can happen next in here. The price is going to, again, this was already a break of structure, so the price does want to continue to push a little bit more to the upside, which can go in alignment with what we may be expecting still on the dollar, which is basically seeing this one a little bit moving higher. Of course, after taking this high, maybe we can retrace a little bit before continue to move to the upside again. Yeah, something just to keep an eye on in here. The way price has been moving, a lot of compression in here. Again, typical movability with our franc Swiss in here. What else? Gold, beautiful, right? So gold is yeah, beautiful in the sense that the move to the downside was great, but price never really reacted from where I wanted. Yeah, we start having a lot of breaks of structure in here. Break of low, break of low. We had this specifically range that we were looking for, eventually for price to go even below these lows into this demand zone, and eventually that's what happened. We price broke already, starting to break some lows. One was fake out, created this structure, start breaking lows, break again, and then that beautiful manipulation in here where price breaks the downside, fakes out the level, and then drops, and then next level in here. This is already break of low. Yes, there are orders left behind at around this level for sure, which can eventually, it's going to be interesting to see how price eventually may react from there. For now, let's see how price may react from one of these two zones in here to see if there's going to be more bearishness in here or not. Attention to that one as well. We had this previous high as well that eventually price wants to potentially visit. So we'll see what's going to happen in here on gold. But interesting move again. The PI, the compression that the price made on the way up, it was really good to then look for that reversal. Yeah, and the price actually starting to already create a lot of compression here. We have this level, and now we have this level. Basically, the last two levels in here that you could hold price still a little bit down before price goes all the way higher. Looking at oil. So oil has been moving to downside basically since the inauguration, since the middle of January, when Trump mentioned that he wanted the cheaper oil, or the price of oil to go down, and we had that. But now we are literally entering into this really interesting area of basically support plus demand zone. The price has been compressing quite a lot. Nice little moves in here to the upside that occurred, and now price literally bouncing below this low, so fake out this structure, one of the targets that we've been looking for in here. Even though kind of catching some longs in here, we're always concerned that maybe price still wanted to go further down towards this level, so that helps to manage the trade differently. We didn't really manage to break also this key level in there. So yes, we will see what's going to happen in here on oil. We had that structure. Basically, price starting to break slightly that level, broke above it, and I'm paying attention still at around this level to see how price may eventually react in there. We did manage to break above this this high, which is nice. Basically, what I mean is that we may be getting or in a level where you can see some strength on oil. Again, price may still wants to go a little bit lower. There's maybe still a zone underneath where actually price reacted from, that price may wants to visit. So that's something to pay attention to. But for now, I think we may starting to see a little bit of a, again, even though as price is moving down, we saw some strength. Like, it's not that just price was moving in one direction, price was compressing. When price compresses, basically there are opportunities either for both buyers and sellers to be involved in here. But now we may be getting a little bit closer into more buyer's territory, which means that we may have a little bit more of strength in here, and we may get a little bit more of a bigger move in here. So that's something to pay attention in here on oil. Something in there. In reality, Brent, I think, already reacted from that month zone. Yep. This one actually already reacted from it. Still reacting from that level in there. It's a similar scenario where actually this one is still reacting from that month zone. Still haven't really managed to break below the other lows. So that's something to bear in mind. Yeah, that's an interesting one. I'll definitely keep an eye on oil in here to see what may happen this week. I think that's going to continue to provide interesting opportunities, but at this point a bit more looking for longs than shorts. So that's basically it for the week. What we have in here. Attention to the dollar to see if we're going to continue to have a little bit more strength. Paying attention again on the other side to the pound and to the euro, where it may have a little bit more of a bearishness, at least maybe for a day, unless there is a big gap already over the weekend. Euro pound is something that I'll be paying attention to. Careful with the CAD pairs, of course. As you could see, there's maybe a little bit more potential to the upside on dollar CAD. Euro CAD and pound CAD are approaching really interesting levels that you could do it into a short. For sure, expect volatility in those assets this week. What else? The yen pairs, potentially starting to see a little bit of weakness on the yen, which can be a little bit too longs on the individual yen pairs, or potentially going to continue just within this range compression, which can provide still opportunities for both buyers and sellers. So we'll see in there as well. Aussie, New Zealand, maybe a little bit more to the downside before we start looking for a little bit more of retracements, but maybe we're going to start seeing this compression move to play out. So that's also something to pay attention. Euro pound is going to be one that I'll be looking for potential longs. I think I'm going to definitely be involved in something like that. I do like this structure here. We did manage to break structure above, and yeah, I'm going to be looking for something to be involved in there. The same thing with oil as well, something that I'll be tracking. In terms of the US indices, we already had that big push to downside. Now is a little bit of wait and see. Nasdaq, there's maybe still a bit more room to downside into the next demand level that is still fresh. S&P already basically reacted from it. So yeah, something to keep an eye on. And DAX, if it breaks new highs, then potentially you'll continue to look for potential shorts in there. Crypto, well, we'll see. We'll see if this has a continuation, this momentum, or price just comes all the way back to where it was before today's news. So thank you very much, guys. Thank you for taking time. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. Let me know in the comments if you do have any assets that you want me to pay attention. If you have any questions, I'll be answering it, or maybe I'll be analyzing them then in the next stream. So for sure, next Sunday we're going to be back. During the week, we'll see depending on the schedule. But if anything, it's going to be around 7 p.m. So if you'd like me to actually do it on a daily basis, feel free to comment on the and if you do like it, and if you want it, then I'll be doing it. Thank you. Bye bye. Obrigado. Have a great week ahead. Thank you, guys. Bye bye.